I am Jimmy Evans, and this is Barbershop Therapy. We cut through the problems. I'm Jimmy Evans, owner of Headquarters Barbershop here in Raleigh, North Carolina. The reason that I started Barbershop Therapy was because I saw a void, a need that a lot of black men don't have an outlet, place to just speak about their situations in life, their emotions, a safe space that just allows you to be a man getting a haircut and comfortable with yourself. I just seen a lot of people directing their energy the wrong way, coming in feeling bad, fathers and sons having conflict, not knowing how to communicate with each other. So just basically with the time that I've been talking to people over the last 25 years, barbershop therapy just kind of progressed into an entity. Folks having issues about marriage, raising kids, on their job, whatever. It was a multitude of things that people were going through, and we just never have space as African American men to feel comfortable enough to have somewhere to vent and give what you're truly going through and not feel judged. One of the major goals I want to accomplish with barbershop therapy is changing the imagery of what people view black men as, for one. I mean, if you look at the media, we're often portrayed as either some type of athlete, entertainer, a criminal, a drug dealer, deadbeat dad, and that's not true. I mean, there are a lot of good men, that are African American men, but we're also portrayed as something that's negative or somebody to be feared. You never see the barbershop owner, you never see the lawyer, you never see the doctor. And these are all people that I want to put on Front Street to show that these are images of young black men that are doing things in our community and that we have outlets and great networks. Another goal for me with barbershop therapy would be to just focus on uplifting us back to where we can lead our families. We learn how to communicate, learn some of our triggers, figure out how to deal with mental health, just something that has never really been explored from this angle. And a barbershop is typically, one of the only places you can sit down and have a person captured for 30 to an hour at a time. And in that time frame, you build relationships, you build the ability for somebody to really open up to you and talk about stuff that they know is not gonna leave this chair. They're not gonna feel judged about. And now when they leave, they feel a whole lot better than when they walk through that door. Because you got so many guys going through stuff just in families, on their jobs, with their kids, that they think, man, I'm the only one going through this. So for me, this is giving me the opportunity to talk them through or just listen. Sometimes people just need to be heard, and they don't have that safe space. This is one of the few professions that people actually build long-term relationships because they see you on a regular basis. I have clients that I dealt with for well over 25 years. And this is male and female, but particularly here, I just want to, give our men an opportunity to figure out some things that they haven't in the past. We haven't been taught how to communicate. We haven't been taught that mental health is something that we deal with on a daily basis. We haven't been taught about the triggers and the traumas that we've been going through for all of our generations. For me, for 51 years, I didn't realize I had triggers that I never knew about because our parents teach us what they were taught and so forth and so on. And so as we're moving through this process and me learning about different tools and things to give other people, I think it's valuable that we just speak on it and not just keep this thing in a closet like we have for so long. And it's a treasure that we got to open up for everybody. Barbershop's got one of the biggest networks of people that you'll ever see. Like you'll see a doctor come through, then you'll see a sanitation worker come through, you'll see a teacher come through, then you'll see somebody working in an auto mechanic store. But this network is so vast and it has so much potential to allow people to see we're way more than what we're portrayed as, in media or in, the athletes. Though, like Charles Barkley said back in the day, that shouldn't be your role model. It should be that man in your house. And from the barbershop, I feel like we can help men become better men in their households, to lead their households, and to just be all around better themselves for their families. So how barbershop therapy got started was a friend of mine. We met playing basketball, Jamar Allen, and it was fun. It was fun, man. We met. It was cool. We balled. We clicked. He was funny dude. He had me just like killing on the basketball court. We played together, and we just kind of developed a friendship, and then became a client. After becoming a client, we just sat and we talked, and sometimes, life is gonna happen. And just in that moment, some days he was able to just come in and not feeling the best about situations, able to talk through some things, and allowed him to just, and me to learn from him as well about how to deal with certain situations. I'm a little older than he is, but Jamar is, an incredible dude, smart. He's funny as all get out. Sometimes he kills me. But at the end of the day, he allows me to think a little deeper about situations in this conversation, and it just went from there. One day we were just riding after work, and he was like, man, sitting in that chair just feel like therapy for me. And moving forward to now, we would talk about it. We said for years, man, we're gonna start some podcasts. We're gonna get out here, we're gonna tell people about, how we can help each other as men and be better guys. And it just never really transpired. But, over the last 6 months, man, we reconnected, we started talking again, and started just really trying to figure out what a trajectory for this would be. And so at the end of the day, he said, man, look, let's stop talking about it. Let's go on and do it. And then literally we did the first one in a month. And so from that point on, man, it was just like, hey, that's my ride or die dude. He is definitely on my team. I appreciate him. He pushed me to be better. I push him to be better. And when we're on camera, man, it seems like it's a good fit for us. And I enjoy it. I mean, I appreciate what he brings to the table.
My name is Jamar Allen. I have the pleasure of working with Jimmy. We met some years ago playing basketball. I might have been a little bit better than him at the time, but I can't recall. My memory doesn't serve me too well. But we later on reconnected, and I found out he was a barber, and that was back when I had hair, so I actually could utilize his service. So he went to cutting my hair, and it became a weekly thing. And at the time, growing up without a consistent father figure, spending that much one-on-one time with a man was something that I grew to appreciate, but it was also something that I didn't have. So I found myself extremely comfortable with him. I don't know if it's the vibration of the clippers, or the hypnosis of the smells in there, or what, but just felt really comfortable. It was something about the atmosphere and the building that made me extremely comfortable with him personally, and I found myself in some of my best places. I was running to share those moments with him, and then also in some of my lowest places, I was running to share those moments with him. And I traveled a lot around that time, so it was always kind of like a decompression thing to get back and sit in his chair, even if by then I had went to Atlanta or New York or somewhere and somebody jacked my hair up. It was still good to come back and just get that number one, but just to be in the presence of somebody who I could communicate with, and I didn't hear what I talked about anywhere else. And one of my more challenging days, I had things had gotten a little difficult, and I had to move back in with my mom. I didn't have a car at the time, and it was just challenging, just a really tough season. and we were riding home, and I think I made the comment. I said, "Man, this feels like therapy," because I just wasn't taught to communicate out loud. I wasn't taught to communicate, nor did I value listening at that time. So on the way back, I said it, and he coined the phrase. And a little while later, he showed up with a T-shirt on, and I was like, "Oh, you for real?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then it was like years and years, it still was present. And I was like, "Oh, all right." And as I advanced in like doing music and audio visual different things like that, we talked about it, and it was just like, "Hey, let's just go. Let's go for it." There's a lot of things that people need to talk about from our perspective, and for men to have a place to talk, but also for sons to be able to understand their fathers, and women to be able to understand, some men's perspective. And I just thought it was a priceless thing to do. So we jumped on the horse and took off. Oh man, from the first time I started coming to Jimmy, it was already kind of like organic. Like, some things just click, and then it's seasonal, man. Some things just click and it seems like it's a lifetime. But I've seen him go through relational issues and different issues, and I've gone through the thing, and we've shared that with each other. And we've gone from complaining to each other and venting to each other to me taking more of a little brother role and running to him for advice. Somebody with so many resources, he retains the knowledge pretty well. So the growth and the dynamic of our relationship has gone from equal athlete to to sensei almost, and it's definitely been beneficial to me. And there's been times where he's hit me up for advice, but for the most part, I definitely leech off all his wisdom. He doesn't need too much from me. So, but it's grown, and I'm extremely comfortable, and that's significant because I didn't have a strong relationship with my father growing up. So to be able to trust, a male figure and to get sound advice from them, and they not want anything from you, is monumental for me. As a co-host of Barbershop Therapy, I want to see the vision go forward. That vision of community and family that Jimmy has, and I've definitely bought into. I want to see that vision come forth. Us coming together, bringing whatever gifts, talents, like Marvel or something, like everybody just coming together and bringing it together to empower people and to create a healthier culture. Culture is a overly saturated word right now, but it's still a vital thing. And as far as me, what I bring is I want to bring a balance. That's what I bring, a little bit of a balance. Jimmy is pretty by the book and straight up and down, and he'll get straight to it. At times I'm the comic relief, because I definitely can hear the conversation, but I can also hear the younger me asking these questions. And it's a platform where I'm allowed to be who I am. That's kind of been a way I've dealt with uncomfortable situations and trauma and different things, is you find a way to laugh about it. And Barbershop Therapy is one of those things where no matter who you are, whether you're a host, a co-host, or a guest, you're not put in this box of this is how you have to operate, this is how you function, because that's not how a community thrives. All right, one thing I've learned while co-hosting Barbershop Therapy is that Barbershop Therapy is a phrase. It's a great phrase. It's a great catchphrase. But at the end of the day, it can be anywhere. The foundation and the concept that Jimmy created is the ability to communicate in community in different places and utilize our resources to better ourselves. So just one thing I always want to highlight is that it doesn't have to be in a barbershop. You don't have to be a barber. You don't have to be a therapist, but we pool our resources together to create the barbershop therapy environment and that comfort any and everywhere. So
the common ground is this is a crossroad for every black male or white male, to come across. But we now have, again, doctors and lawyers, teachers, professors, children, women, the problems, the professions might be different, right? But the problems are just similar across the board. And what I'm finding is, as I talk to people, our lives are just so connected dots. You know, everybody that's married, everybody is going to work, everybody is going to have kids, and all of these problems is if it's communicating with your child, or like a lot of fathers, we used to have a few sessions back in the day with fathers. They didn't know how to connect with their kids because we're parenting from, lack of a better word, a slave mentality. You know, we were always told to make our kids have a healthy fear of us. And then when kids get a little older, they resent that. We were never taught to communicate with our kids, and we were confusing love with respect. You know, if you love, I'm gonna love you, but if I love you hard enough and teach you everything to do through my hard love, then you'll get it. But it's also about respect. Your kids need your respect just like you need your kids' respect. And you can't give a child that thing if you were never taught how to give it. And so when we talk about resources, dealing with legal issues, dealing with mental health, you know, we're gonna have therapists. We want to have that network where people can go to find out about financial, you know, literacy, how to keep your family financially secure, even in death. You know, we don't talk about those things because it's morbid. And we look at it as is, we can't talk about it because it's taboo, or, you know, you got to keep that hush hush, or I'm scared to talk about it. We got to open up to those conversations and then use these resources and this vast network of people to come in and say, hey, I'm afraid to go to the doctor. Well, we got a doctor you can go and talk to. He's gonna break these terms down. He's gonna give you something that you never had, the comfort to actually go and learn about your body. And you feel, you know, I'm informed the proper way, versus somebody sending you to a churn out patient, you know, not advocating for black men. You know, a lot of black men won't go to the doctor for those reasons. You know, they're just fearful of past the history of medicine with black males. So I think the biggest thing for me is just to be able to give out good information, to also be able to help people understand some of the terms they may not be familiar with, some of the professions they might not know they got access to, and show a lot of our kids that, you know, there are a lot of people that you can call your role models, or you can just look up to, other than an athlete, other than an entertainer or a rapper or a singer. It's so much more. And people, there are great professions that you make a lot of money, and everybody doesn't have to go to college to do that. But we don't talk about these things with our kids, and we kind of get, you know, herded into this one mentality of how to raise kids, how to be a good husband, how to be a good father. And I think it's more information based than anything, that we lack a lot of information, and as a people we hoard information. We shouldn't do that. We should really look at the ability to get this community and this village mentality back, because it worked for us at one time. We've gotten a long way away from it, but I think the barbershop and barbershop therapy can open that gateway and that ability for people to learn a different way to communicate, to help one another.
I am Jamar Allen, and this is Barbershop Therapy.